Good afternoon. Taking that walk. Thought you guys might want to come along with me. I want to discuss a couple things. I want to talk about some progress on what I'm doing. I wanted to talk about some thoughts that I had, and I wanted to get some feedback. So, first things first. What's going on with this? Maybe we should delay the election. Bull crap. First of all, that can't happen without an act of Congress. I have doubts that that's actually going to be something that we're going to have to contend with, because if they start it now, they're going to have to continue it through, Democratic presidencies when they arise. It's kind of opening up a can of worms that you just can't stuff back in, okay? Or I like to talk about the toothpaste tube. You can't return the toothpaste into the tube. I didn't make that up, obviously. Somebody way smarter than me did, but it's one of my favorite analogies. Let me get this sun out of your eyes. I'm sorry. So, I wonder if we're going to hear he was just being sarcastic or some other dismissive line when it's time after time after time after time this kind of statement is made. I'm not trying to rail. That's not my intent. But how many times are we going to be fed the line that he didn't really mean what he said, or he was just trolling or something along those lines? We're in a time frame when that kind of behavior is inappropriate. When half of the country has the anxiety of possibly moving towards autocracy, joking about being an autocrat isn't exactly how we alleviate those fears. You need to remember that despite whether or not you appreciate other people's opinions, they have as much right to voice those opinions as you do. This is a democracy. Maybe some people want to change that. But we're not going to let them, are we? So, yeah, let me move on. That's the ums have begun. I apologize about that. I'll give you an update on what I have going. I've received a lot of good feedback on the I think it's called Gambling with My Child post that I'd done, where I discussed my views, my opinions, I suppose I could put it on. That was probably 3 ums within 30 seconds there. Sorry, I'm trying to practice. But so I received good feedback on that. I appreciate that. I'm going to keep plugging away, writing things. I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's investing in myself. I'm doing a lot of reading. I'm doing a lot of discussing. It provides equity. It's a way for me to grow as an individual. And what I'm happy about is that you guys can join me. So I received good feedback on that. I received good feedback on some of the other things that I've done. I had my friend Vonda convinced me to get that Cash App open. Appreciate that. It's by no means a requisite in order to enjoy interacting with me. I actually feel a little bit, I don't know, different about putting it out there, but if I don't, then I may not reach some of the goals that I want to reach. So it is what it is. You can support it, or you cannot, and that's okay. That's part of the democracy too. I'm going to continue to. I started all of this without all of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be the way of the future. I'm just seeing what I can do to improve my family and overall all of our situations. So I have that going on. I have a friend who's interested in doing a vlog with me. The idea behind that is, like, I'm by no means an expert on any of this. I'm just somebody who's figuring it out with everybody else. And my friend Paul, he's pretty much a novice at it. He's just now getting his feet under him, reading a lot of articles, having discussions in social media environments, running things by people. I'm lucky to be one of them. So we thought that we would film our conversations, which are usually, us joking, talking about incidents that we have come across on our journey through social media and our reading. And I thought about, I'm really sorry if the sun is affecting you. Eventually maybe I'll find another method, but I really like taking you for a walk, so there we go. Back to Paul. I thought that it would be interesting to have these conversations as he's becoming more involved. I want to discuss things like voter registration, some of the issues that surround some of our more controversial topics, like the Ukraine incident, which I did a thread on, I would say maybe February or March. So where I'd taken all the articles from a Ukraine press and kind of step by step ran us through what they were saying about Shokin and the whole Burisma Biden situation. So that's an interesting piece, and I wanted to discuss some of that with Paul. Eventually I'd like to have other people come on and talk about what they're doing in their communities, whether it's a blog, a podcast, activism, pushing candidates. I'd like to have people on that have a message that they want to, share to other people. I'm blessed to have the following that I do on Twitter. It's amazing to me that so many people want to listen to the things that I have to say. So, for lack of a better way of putting it, I'm going to quote Hamilton, the play. I'm not throwing away my shot. I'm going to utilize the gifts that you guys have given me with your attention and make the best of it. So some of that is it'll be better when you give me feedback. Let me know the things that are working. Let me know the things that aren't. I get a little bit of mixed feedback about these types of videos where I'm not editing, I'm not cutting out things, I'm just talking. But how many of the talking heads do you speak with who run on a script and they're not showing you the thought processes, they're not having the conversations? To me, sometimes it's sterile. I'm not knocking what they're doing. They put a lot of work. And, frankly, they're monetized and I'm not. But I like it when somebody's talking to me for real. And so I thought that we would try that. Let me know what you think. Do you want me to use cue cards? I'll give some consideration. This is about us. So some of the suggestions that we come up with may or may not make it. But there we are. So the next thing is I wanted to talk about some of the questions that were asked of me. So let me answer a few. What's my spirit animal, I suppose somebody asked me. Not all tribes have those. That's a religious thing. But a lot of us do have some kind of totemic whatever. It's kind of like the zodiac for some, and for some it's a deeply religious and cultural importance. So I'll answer in a roundabout way. My indigenous name is Wakan Queshquaneas, which is a spirit panther. I use panther in the title of my YouTube, not YouTube, my Twitter handle. So that kind of answers that question. Second question is, do I like cats? My name is Wakan Queshquaneas, which means spirit panther. So there's that answer. Do I get involved in my community with voting and things like that? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm not going to name my particular candidate, but I push out the information on that candidate quite a bit on multiple social media platforms. I have an Indigenous Patriot on Facebook. It's a group. If you want to look that up and join it, you're more than welcome to. I have it also as a blog and, Twitter and everything. So anyway, I also advocate in the community. I push people to register to vote. I don't want to put it into this perspective because it sounds different than what I mean it, but I don't know how to articulate it differently. People come to me about my opinion in person in regards to some of the things that are going on. So I'd like to say that I fight disinformation, not just online, but also in person. I'd like to get further involved and advocate for the things that I think are important, but that's just going to be step by step. I'm trying to work on a few different things. I have a bunch of coals stoked up and some irons in the fire there. So, one step at a time. Let me think if I'm missing any of the questions that were given to me. You know what, I don't know. If you have more questions, we can address those. So to sum up what I'm talking about, I'm going to continue to push out blog posts. I'm going to continue to do videos. I had the idea of continuing these talking videos, but I thought about kind of giving my opinion on newsworthy topics. So if you have any suggestions on that, you can either drop them in the YouTube comments below, or you can message me on Twitter. I'm more than happy to have discussions. The only caveats are that I do not tolerate disrespect in these conversations. We need to learn how to talk to each other as a people, so you're not going to come in and troll my comments. I mean, you may get away with it for a little bit until I notice that it's happening, and then it's just going to be an immediate block. So let's try to keep the conversation respectful. We have to learn how to talk to each other after all of this is done. No matter if you're a Trump supporter or not, Trump is going to be out of office one day, hopefully. And if he's not, then you're to blame. But I digress. So when he's out of office, we're going to have to learn how to have a conversation. We're going to have to learn how to be comfortable with one another. We're going to have to learn how to get back, sit around the dining room table and talk. How many people in your family have you lost contact with because of these politics? And do you feel like that's an appropriate response? At the time it may be, but once this man's out of office, are we going to throw away the relationships that we built years to develop because we have a difference in opinion? And you have to understand that sometimes it's a psychological thing for them. And if you really care about them, maybe you want to weigh those options, okay? To continue with summing up, I have a lot of projects in the works. Some of them may not see the light of day. Some of them may actually be successful, but it's all going to depend on you, your support. Let me know what's working. Let me know what's not working. Be kind, though, because, well, you don't have to do it. You don't have to be kind if you don't want to. This is a free world, but I work better when we are having honest, how do you put it? Talk to me as I talk to you, please. And if you've had a conversation with me, you know that I'm polite. I express my opinions, but I don't walk on you about yours. That's all I'm asking in return. And maybe we can get all this backwards, upside down. Who knows what the heck's going on, world. Let's not talk about the world. Let's worry about the country first. Maybe we can get all of this worked out, okay? If you like what I'm saying, then please consider subscribing. The more people that subscribe, the more ability I have to dedicate my time to making sure that these videos and blogs and whatever I happen to be working on are of some type of quality. I say as I'm walking around with a Note 9 filming me talking without editing. Anyway, I love you. Join me on my journey and share if you like what I'm doing. Thank you.